Okay, guys, I messed up. I tried to upload a video longer than 15 minutes, and I'm not a verified account. So, boo me. So it's January 5th, like a little past midnight. But let's just, you know what? I messed up. We're learning. So I'm just going to let that one slide. Um, we'll say this is the January 4th episode. Um, what I had what I wanted to talk about today was kind of launching off of yesterday's video a bit, where we talked about, on some level, taking pride in your environment by keeping it tidy, right? Now going down to that's more macro, going down to the micro level of that is taking pride in your possessions. And I covered this a little bit in yesterday's video, but I, I was just thinking about it a lot today because of yesterday's video, so I figured I'd just talk about this. Um, Keep things around you that you are happy you have. And that can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. Um, but the example that I generally use is my guitars. I play guitar kind of pretty casually. I don't take it super seriously. I just find it pretty interesting and I like messing around on it. I have an electric bass, an electric standard guitar, and an acoustic guitar. They're all relatively nicer ones. They're kind of entry level ish. They're around like 400 each. One was a gift actually. The acoustic was really nice. I got that from my friends for my birthday. That's something that's incredibly important to me. I hold that very dear. Um, but even with how little I touch them, right? I got some like nicer ones because whenever I sit down and play them, I'm like, man, I'm happy I got this. Look at this thing. This thing's beautiful. I think that kind of leans into the kind of throwaway culture that we tend to have nowadays, where everybody's you have like fast fashion, where the clothes are made super cheap and people just go through them and throw them away. They after like one use, things like that. It is. I'm very much personally. I'm very much not like that. If I buy an article of clothing, it's intended to be worn until I die or it just falls apart immediately. And the same thing with my cars. I love my cars. They're something that I I daily drive a 1990 Miata. I love that thing to absolute death. It is my favorite possession. Yeah, I would say so. I'd say it's my favorite possession. It's a real pain in the ass because it's 35 years old at this point, but she's old. Um, but with that, I do look at that as an opportunity to learn. I can learn a lot working on a car like that. It's relatively very easy to work on for a car, and I can a lot of stuff's not working. A lot of stuff stops working. Uh, Basically, anything that has rubber or plastic needs to be replaced, and anything that has moving parts, it's kind of on its way out. So, as much of an annoyance as it is to do that kind of stuff, I do look forward to it in a way. Uh, I do get excited about the prospect of working on the car because it's not just about it's not like a pride thing, Although there is something to that, right? You get the work done and you can look back at it and go like, "Hey, I did that," right? Like even on a most fundamental level, like you can be proud of yourself for that, right? It's even if it's a basic thing, right? But beyond that, every time I finish working on the car, I come away from it a smarter person. I come away from it a better person. Like, I understand how things function better. I understand how to problem solve better. I understand how to approach a problem easier, uh, more easily, I should say. Yeah. It helps a lot in terms of building me as a person. Going through a task like that kind of is a pain in the ass. Yeah. But I walk away from that project being a more rounded person. I can give an example. When I redid the brakes, right? So I replaced the rotors, I replaced the brake lines. It was not a huge job, but the one thing that I ran into was when I was trying to attach the flexible part of the brake line to the hard line of the brake line, the nut, I could not get the nut tight enough for it to stop leaking. And I couldn't figure out why. So I asked a friend of mine that I used to work with, an older guy that has been working on cars for decades. He's like, "Oh yeah, you need a pipe wrench." Oh, not like a crescent wrench or just a standard wrench that has the open mouth like that. Whoop. You need a pipe wrench that goes around like that. That way you get more torque on it and you can tighten it. And I was going as tight as I could with the standard wrench, this little tiny 8mm wrench. I went and got some pipe wrenches, came back home. I could tighten it a good half turn more. It wasn't even close to tight. It was not even close. It's things like that. You just learn how things work better. And if you mess up, it's like the greatest way to learn about how everybody talks about how failure is the best way to learn. Failure is the best teacher. That is a prime example of that. Prime example. It puts you in a position to problem solve. It puts you in a position where you have to tackle something. You have to go outside of what you already know. And when you figure it out, you come out of that a more rounded person. You understand how the world works a little bit better now. So, looping back, what huge tangent there. I think taking pride in your possessions, like, or here's another example. My guitars, right? I restring them myself. It's not a difficult thing to do, and I'm sure a lot of people who play guitar would be like, "Well, that's not like a big deal." But like there's a friend of mine, John, who would not do that himself. I guarantee that 100%. He would not restring his guitar. He doesn't even play his guitar. I'm the only one who plays it when I'm over at his house, but we don't talk about that. But he's the kind of guy that would not restring his own guitar. He would go and pay someone else to do it. And I think there's something really, to me, it's a little sad. Like, I don't blame the guy. I'm not mad at him or like, oh, like I'm not critical of him or anything, but I think it's a lost opportunity. And that's kind of sad to me, is that Some people are so willing to throw away an opportunity to teach themselves how to do things, how things function, how things operate, how to fix things, how to problem solve, how just on a super basic level. Again, restringing a guitar is not difficult. It's not difficult. If you're not paying attention, you might loop the string around, back around the opposite way. So, like when you're tuning it, one might have to go the other way to tune it or something. But you learn. You learn. Guitar strings are like $8 a pack. It's not that big of a deal. I think it. I see that a lot. Washing your car. Washing your car. Everybody goes to car washes now. Everybody goes to car washes. Wash your car. It doesn't take that long. It takes 30 minutes. It doesn't take that long at all. It gets you moving. It gets you like working on something. It gets your brain moving. It's it's not a difficult activity and it takes 30 minutes. You know, everybody has 30 minutes. Let's be real. Everybody has 30 minutes to do something, right? Once every month, you know, you can find 30 minutes, right? I think people owe it to themselves to go out of their way to learn. I think, and for me, it's a lot easier because I find most things very interesting. I have a very curious mind. So I would say that. I would say I have a very curious mind. I go out of my way to learn things. I go out of my way to keep myself up to date on things. I find things, generally, I find things very interesting. How things function, how things operate, how things work, how to put things together, how to take it apart, how to, science, technology, whatever, right? So in my case, I would say, yeah, that makes my approach a lot easier to things because I am genuinely curious about it. And I know a lot of people might not be. But I think it is important for you to approach things with the mindset of, well, can I figure this out first? Or do I need somebody else to take care of this for me? Fixing a pipe under your sink. Dude, that's not hard at all. It's not. If you just don't know what to do, I don't blame you, right? If you've never done it before, but you've got the internet, man. How to fix pipe under sink leaking. You'll find some plumber that's been doing the thing for the last 50 years of his life who knows every little thing you could every little trick, tactic, whatever, every ace up his sleeve. He'll be like, oh yeah, this is exactly how to do it, and this will save you 40 minutes by doing this, and da 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 da. Come on. Me and my dad have a running joke where if we don't know something off the top of our heads, we'll say, oh, well, you better write that down so when we go to the library next week, we can figure it out. Information, unlimited amounts of information are available at your fingertips immediately. You can look up anything you can possibly conceive of, and it would come up immediately. That is unparalleled access to information. We have never had that before, and every day it grows more than it was the day before. Go out of your way to take care of things yourself. You'll learn a lot. You'll get out of it becoming a better person, more well rounded, able to approach problems better in different ways. You owe it to yourself. Do yourself a favor. All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys later.